Marble Riders. What a great day it is today. Lots to talk about. Just picked up my bike from the dealership, the Suzuki dealership. I had a recall letter. I had to take the bike in to get a new ECU. Apparently some of the 2014-15 1000cc Vstroms were having idling issues and stalling in traffic. Mine never suffered from that. I never ever had one issue with that. So I wonder if it was just a massive clutch control problem. Who knows? I'm joking. I'm sure there was an issue. But anyway, I got a new ECU and I have to ride this for between 50 and 100 kilometers to teach it my riding style. So I'm off. It's interesting. I've noticed a few things already. One, that it's idling differently, more elevated, more evenly. Two, there's even more grunt low down. But the real reason I'm talking to you today is because yesterday I went to ride a XSR900 and I was really looking forward to it because I've been lusting after that bike for a long time. I've seen lots of reviews from different motovloggers on it. I love everything the Vstrom can do for me. I love everything the Husaberg can do for me, but I am missing that sitting in a sort of fits like a glove, small but nimble, powerful bike. I'm missing that. It harkens back to my RDLC 350 days in England, the Yamaha two-stroke that I used to have, a liquid-cooled one. I think that's where it comes from. I also had a cafe racer a few years ago and I really enjoyed that, although its performance was a little limited. So I drew up this list, came up with 4 bikes, which is down to 2. 2 bikes that I'm down to now are the Kawasaki 900 RS. It's a beautiful looking bike, and when I was a kid I always wanted a Z900. Up to a few years ago I was thinking of actually buying an old one and redoing it, and then this came out and I thought, why bother? It's even nicer than it used to be. It looks gorgeous. They've done a really good job. I like the old bike look, but I like the new bike performance. And then the other bike that I wanted was the XSR900, as I've said, which is essentially an MT09 with a touch of the beauty brush. I cannot stand the new Transformer insect look of modern bikes. I know that everybody has the different opinions, and I'm sure that some people love them and they've grown up on them, but to me it's just doesn't appeal to me. It looks like some sort of insect, some sort of bug. That's why I could never really go for the Speed Triple or the Street Triple from Triumph. So when the XS900 came out, and basically it is an MT09, exactly the same engine, exactly the same chassis, I thought I got to try that. Then I saw the reviews and I thought, yeah, I've definitely got to try that. And then yesterday I got the chance. Here's the bad news. Why are you telling us about this while you're riding your Vstrom? In the morning, someone took an XSR900 out and crashed it. What that meant was as I was signing the release form to allow me to take this bike out and ride it, was that when I asked and said, would you mind, I know it says there, as usual, I cannot film while I'm riding. Yamaha Canada do that. They have that in that waiver. You cannot film while you're riding. Could I film? Ordinarily they let me do it, but unfortunately this guy yesterday was hyper nervous after this person had gone off. Apparently they just kind of looked to a ditch and hit the ditch, and that was it. They were fine. The bike was a little bit of a mess, a few bruises and bumps, but that was it. He was oversensitized. Probably better if I hadn't asked and if I just snuck it on there, but I was not allowed to do it. He was apologetic, but he said, I'm sorry. If Yamaha Canada find out that I've let you do this, I'm probably out of a job. So I can completely understand. So I'm afraid I did take video, static shots of the bike, but that was it. Then I had to shut the video off. So I'm going to tell you about it now. Starting with the back, it is gorgeous. That tail light is all LED, it's circular, and that circular theme is something that's echoed right through the bike from back to front. You can see it's got a beautiful integrated exhaust, which makes a wonderful sound. My god, that triple is a wonderful sounding beast. I like it better than the Triumphs. It doesn't have that whine. The tank, the gorgeous lustrous red, oh my god, it's much better than it looks in the video, but that red slayed me when I looked at it. This Speedo, what a piece of art that thing is. LED, circular, it's got everything in it, including a fuel gauge, which is something that's rare on bikes these days. It's got a gear select indicator, it's got of course the speed, it's got the rev at the top, and it's got a bunch of other stuff on there, including the Mode B, STD, stop it, and A. These are the riding modes. They don't change engine mapping, they change the throttle mapping. On A, the rep was telling me they call it aggressive, and that's what I rode the bike in. I thought, what's the point in going STD, or VD as some of you might be thinking. I think that's actually meant to stand for standard, not what you're thinking. No laughing at the back. And then there's B for rain. It also has, and this is another reason why this bike is definitely not a retro bike. It looks retro, it is not a retro bike. It has ABS and 3 traction control modes. The traction control modes are off, 1 and 2, and they're pretty typical on bikes. I'm not going to go into those very much. It was stuck on traction control 1, that's where I put it. I rode it in A. I really enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed riding it in A. A few stats on it. Wet, it is 430 pounds. Don't think that's light. Look at the CBR 650 from Honda, which is a 650. This thing, the XSR900, is actually an 850. Look at the CBR 650 and you will notice that it is 430 pound wet and the Honda is 460 pounds wet. This thing is light. Power, well, it's a triple. It's got torque and it's got some of the beautiful characteristics of a smooth 4-stroke as well. I could notice straight away coming off a V-twin, which is smooth, but this triple is silky smooth and snarly. It's beautiful. It puts out 115 horsepower at 10,000 RPM, 102 horsepower at the back wheel, and 65 foot-pounds of torque at 8,500 RPM, and it feels like it. Sitting on it, I'm 6 foot. It's easy to flat foot. It's that beautiful medium-sized bike that just sits between your legs. It makes you want to go even when you're sitting on it, and I mean go, folks, not go, okay? It makes you want to go even just sitting on it. My legs were canted back to about 70 degrees, very, very comfortable. My knees, though, the scallops must strictly be for show, the scallops in the tank. You know, traditionally they would scallop tanks so you could tuck your knees in, because my knees were low and I'm 6 foot. You know, I needed another 8 inches on my lower leg alone to be able to fit my knees up there. What a beautiful sound, and it is eager right underneath you. It wants to go. The first thing you notice is the clutch is extremely light. It's lovely. Second is just how sensitive the throttle is on A mode. It really is. You start to go off. It's so well balanced that you can come up to a stop sign, as I did, and you're doing literally 1 kilometer an hour and there's no need to put a foot down. While that engine's turning over and you've got any forward movement at all, that thing's upright. It belies its agility because it dances around corners. So I'm not quite sure how Yamaha have managed to do it. Cross-plane crank, whatever. It's certainly not a humongous flywheel, but that thing loves just to stand up. Perhaps it's the huge back tire, which is even bigger than my liter bike, this Vstrom's back tire, much wider. They're both 17-inch wheels. Lower speeds, it's you know, you've got to be, that is a very sensitive throttle. You've got to be careful with that throttle, but getting up to those speeds, it's just a doddle. Beautiful. It's the starting and the stopping where this bike really comes into its own. You can accelerate around a corner from stopped, and it's phenomenal how you just pick up speed and change direction just like that. You carve into corners, and this bike is going to get your tickets. It wants to go faster and faster. It's smooth. You can keep it cracked at 1 RPM. The fueling was perfect on it. I'm just saying that engine is free revving and it wants to go. It was just a beautiful, beautiful bike. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The sound, like I said, is a growly snarl. It's not as loud as a street triple with an aftermarket pipe on it, which is nice. It's a nice sound, really nice, very evocative. The whole bike just sends chills up your spine as you're riding it. The feel, the nimble, the agility, how light it feels, how powerful it feels, how quick. Buzzing along in 6th gear, it's really, really tractable. Like, you can be down 6th gear, 3,000 RPM, no problem, and it's a triple, so it's got the torque. You can wind it on and it doesn't complain at all. When it gets to 5, watch out, be holding on, because there is a 2-stroke like kick to it. Unlike a 2-stroke, this thing never stops. It just goes on and on. It has real stamina. It pulls, I mean, your eyes are sucking back. great bike. I was really impressed with the fit and finish of the bike, very impressed. Going back to what the bike looks like, the circular theme from the tail light to the tachometer speedo to the headlight, which isn't LED, beautiful circular theme. But then it's when you looked at the machined billeted aluminum that holds the headlight on, and the machined billeted aluminum along the side flashes of it, really nice quality parts. The real kicker for this is it's about 11,000. If you get last year's model, you're looking at 10,250. That's nearly $3,000 less than the Kawasaki Z900 RS. Why do I keep talking about the Kawasaki Z900 RS? Well, because that is the other bike I would love, as I mentioned before, and they had two there. Unfortunately, the dealership won't allow anyone to ride them. Oh, very, very nice. Very nice. They contest that this bike is a bike that people want to buy with 0 miles on the clock. So that's what they do. They buy the bike with 0 miles on the clock, and they won't let anyone drive it. They managed to sell one of them. They've got the two others, I think, have deposits on them, and they're going like hotcakes. So they said, we have no reason to give anyone a test ride on these bikes. I refuse to buy a bike that I haven't test ridden, and no matter how beautiful a bike looks, until I've ridden it, I won't buy it. My criteria for my mid-size bike is that it is, first of all, aesthetically pleasing. It's got to be aesthetically pleasing, and I've got to say the XSR in the flesh is much, much better looking than it is in any photograph I've seen, and believe me, I've drooled over many over the past year. I couldn't believe how beautiful it was, how well balanced, how well proportioned it was. I couldn't believe it. The fit and finish on it's beautiful. The Z900 RS takes the cake, though. It is a better looking bike, not by much in my opinion, but it is a better looking bike. I walked around that, and I'll show you you know, right now, possibly with some sort of sexy music, as I whirl my camera around the two models they had in there. One was the RS with the brown and the orange, very nice traditional Z900 RS look, and then there was the green sort of cafe'd one that they have there. Very nice, apart from the green. I've never been a Kawasaki green sort of person, but the actual style, the shape of it, beautiful. Really, really enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed what it looked like. So yes, there goes my story of how beautiful the Kawasaki and the XSR are. I've got a hard choice to come up, but it's no choice unless I get a test ride of that Z900. We'll see. By this time next year, maybe some of the fuss will have died down, and we can wheedle our way into a test drive. Really appreciate you listening to this. I hope that at least some of my ramble got some feedback. If you have any questions about the XSR and I've forgotten something, please give it to me. But I can't be any more complimentary. Was there anything I didn't like about it? I'm not this person. I never usually say no, but I am afraid that I have to say no, there was nothing that I didn't like about it. And that's all, folks. Nice little bit of AMG Mercedes action there. Aesthetics and smiles per miles, probably the XSR takes it for me.
Well, once again folks, thanks for coming on a ride with me. If it took you back to the 70s, well, it was supposed to. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to share, like, and above all, subscribe. Blue Marble Rider, out.